Hello, and welcome to Britain Reimagined. What if everything you thought you knew about British royal history was only half the story? And what if the legendary queens who truly shaped a nation were the ones whose faces history has forgotten? In this episode, we brought back 20 greatest British queens and female rulers who commanded empires using AI, restoring their regal faces, uncovering their political brilliance, and breathing life into the voices that ruled with both grace and iron will. Across centuries, you'll discover Elizabeth II, the monarch who guided Britain through 70 years of transformation, Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen who defeated the Spanish Armada and ushered in England's golden age, and Queen Victoria, the empress who ruled an empire where the sun never set. Tell us whose portrait should we bring back to life next? What forgotten queen from history deserves to have her story told? Leave us a comment. Stay with us until the final portrait, a ruler who changed everything, yet one history barely whispers about.
Number 1.
Elizabeth II was the British monarch who presided over the longest reign in British history and the transformation of the modern world. Born in London during the interwar period, she ascended to the throne at age 25, following her father's unexpected death in 1952. Her 70-year reign witnessed the decolonisation of the British Empire, the digital revolution, and Britain's entry into and exit from the European Union. Her dedication to duty and service made her one of the most respected figures of the 20th and 21st centuries, symbolising continuity through decades of dramatic change.
Number 2.
Elizabeth I was the English queen who transformed England into a major European power and presided over a golden age of culture. Born the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, she overcame being declared illegitimate to become one of England's greatest monarchs. Her defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 established English naval supremacy and Protestant independence from Catholic Europe. Her decision to remain unmarried earned her the title Virgin Queen and allowed England to avoid foreign domination through marriage alliances.
Number 3.
Victoria was the British Queen whose reign defined an entire era and saw the British Empire reach its zenith. Born at Kensington Palace, she inherited the throne at age 18 and ruled for over 63 years through a period of unprecedented industrial and social change. Victoria became Empress of India in 1876, ruling over an empire where the sun never set. Her name became synonymous with moral propriety, imperial expansion, and the confidence of an age that believed in progress and British supremacy.
Number 4.
Mary I was England's first queen regnant who attempted to restore Catholicism through violent persecution of Protestants. Born to Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, she was declared illegitimate when her father broke with Rome, but later restored to the succession. When she inherited the throne in 1553, Mary systematically reversed the Protestant reforms of her predecessors and rekindled the fires of Smithfield. During her 5-year reign, approximately 280 religious dissenters were burned at the stake, earning her the infamous nickname Bloody Mary.
Number 5.
Anne Boleyn was the English queen whose marriage to Henry VIII triggered the English Reformation and changed the course of history. Her refusal to become Henry's mistress led to his break with Rome when the Pope refused to annul his first marriage. As queen, Anne gave birth to the future Elizabeth I, though her failure to produce a male heir sealed her fate. Her execution on charges of adultery, incest and treason in 1536 shocked Europe but paved the way for one of England's greatest monarchs.
Number 6.
Boudica was the Celtic warrior queen who led the greatest uprising against Roman rule in ancient Britain. As queen of the Iceni tribe in East Anglia, she initially ruled as a Roman ally alongside her husband Prasutagus, until his death brought Roman oppression. When Roman officials flogged her and raped her daughters while seizing Iceni lands, Boudica united British tribes in a massive rebellion. Her forces destroyed Roman settlements at Camulodunum, Colchester, Londinium, London, and Verulamium, St Albans, killing an estimated 70,000 Romans and British collaborators.
Number 7.
Margaret Thatcher was Britain's first female prime minister who revolutionised the British economy and restored the nation's international standing. As prime minister from 1979 to 1990, she implemented radical free market policies that dismantled the post-war consensus, privatised state industries, and broke the power of trade unions. Her decisive leadership during the Falklands War in 1982 boosted British morale and her own political fortunes. Known as the Iron Lady, Thatcher's uncompromising style and conservative revolution made her one of the most influential and divisive political figures of the 20th century.
Number 8.
Lady Jane Grey was the teenage queen whose 9-day reign became one of the most tragic episodes in English royal history. Born into the ambitious Grey family as great-granddaughter of Henry VII, she received an exceptional humanist education and was renowned for her learning in Greek, Latin, and theology. When the dying Edward VI excluded his Catholic half-sister Mary from the succession, Jane was proclaimed queen at age 16 as part of her father-in-law's political machinations. Popular support for Mary Tudor quickly overwhelmed Jane's regime, leading to her capture and imprisonment in the Tower of London.
Number 9.
Mary, Queen of Scots, was the tragic Scottish monarch whose claim to the English throne made her a threat to Elizabeth the Firm and led to her eventual execution. Born just days before inheriting the Scottish crown, she was sent to France as a child bride and raised in the sophisticated French court. Her disastrous marriage to Lord Darnley and subsequent involvement in his murder destroyed her reputation and forced her to flee to England. Elizabeth kept her cousin under house arrest for 19 years before reluctantly ordering her execution when Mary's involvement in plots against the English crown could no longer be tolerated.
Number 10.
Catherine of Aragon was the Spanish princess whose marriage to Henry VIII became the catalyst for the English Reformation. Her subsequent marriage to Henry VIII in 1509 began happily, but her failure to produce a surviving male heir led to the king's desire for annulment. Catherine's steadfast refusal to accept the invalidity of her marriage forced Henry to break with Rome and declare himself supreme head of the Church of England. Her dignity in defeat and unwavering faith made her a symbol of wronged womanhood, while her daughter Mary would later attempt to restore the Catholic faith Catherine died defending.
Number 11.
Anne of Cleves was the German princess whose brief marriage to Henry VIII ended in the most amicable royal divorce in Tudor history. When Henry found her physically unappealing upon their first meeting, the marriage was quickly annulled after just 6 months, but Anne's pragmatic acceptance of the situation secured her future. She received generous settlements including Richmond Palace and Hever Castle, making her one of the wealthiest women in England. Known as the king's beloved sister, Anne outlived Henry and all his other wives, enjoying an independent and comfortable life at the English court.
Number 12.
Catherine Parr was the scholarly queen who survived Henry VIII and played a crucial role in reconciling the king with his children. Born into the Westmoreland gentry, she was twice widowed before becoming Henry's sixth and final wife in 1543. Catherine's greatest achievement was persuading Henry to restore Mary and Elizabeth to the succession, ensuring England's future under strong female rulers. After Henry's death, she married Thomas Seymour, but died in childbirth in 1548, having successfully navigated the dangerous waters of Tudor court politics.
Number 13.
Jane Seymour was the third wife of Henry VIII, who achieved what her predecessors could not by providing the king with his longed-for male heir. Her modest demeanor and apparent submissiveness contrasted sharply with the assertive Anne Boleyn, making her attractive to Henry as he sought a more traditional consort. Jane's triumph in giving birth to the future Edward VI in 1537 was short-lived, as she died of complications just 12 days later. Her death devastated Henry, who genuinely mourned her and chose to be buried beside her at Windsor Castle.
Number 14.
Catherine Howard was the fifth wife of Henry VIII, whose youthful indiscretions and alleged adultery led to her execution at age 21. Henry's infatuation led to their marriage in 1540, but Catherine's previous relationships and continued flirtations at court provided her enemies with ammunition against her. When evidence emerged of her correspondence with courtier Thomas Culpeper, she was arrested, tried for treason, and executed in 1542. Her tragic fate highlighted the dangerous position of women in Tudor England and the lethal consequences of the king's increasingly tyrannical nature.
Number 15.
Empress Matilda was the first woman to claim the English throne in her own right, fighting a bitter civil war to secure her inheritance. Born daughter of Henry I, she was named his heir when the White Ship disaster killed her brother, and the English nobility swore to recognize her succession. After her father's death, however, her cousin Stephen seized the throne, leading to a devastating conflict known as the Anarchy. Matilda invaded England in 1139 and briefly controlled London, taking the title Lady of the English, but popular opposition prevented her coronation.
Number 16.
Queen Anne was the last Stuart monarch who oversaw the creation of Great Britain and witnessed major military victories that established British power in Europe. Her reign from 1702 to 1714 was marked by the War of Spanish Succession, where the Duke of Marlborough won famous victories at Blenheim and other battles. Anne's greatest achievement was the Act of Union in 1707, which formally united England and Scotland into the Kingdom of Great Britain. Despite 18 pregnancies, she had no surviving children, leading to the Hanoverian succession and ending the Stuart line.
Number 17.
Caroline of Brunswick was the scandalous queen consort whose marital troubles with George IV created a constitutional crisis and divided British public opinion. Caroline's unconventional behaviour and alleged affairs during her separation led to public accusations of adultery when George became king in 1820. Her popular support among the British people, who saw her as wronged by her dissolute husband, forced the government to abandon divorce proceedings. Caroline's attempt to attend George's coronation and her subsequent death made her a symbol of wronged womanhood and the corruption of the monarchy.
Number 18.
Isabella of France was the she-wolf of France, who orchestrated one of the most dramatic coups in English history by deposing her own husband. Born daughter of Philip IV of France, she married Edward II in 1308, but grew increasingly alienated by his relationship with male favourites, particularly Piers Gaveston and Hugh Despenser. In 1325, Isabella travelled to France and began an affair with Roger Mortimer, together planning the invasion that would topple Edward II. Their successful coup in 1326 led to Edward's forced abdication and mysterious death, with Isabella ruling as regent for her young son, Edward III.
Number 19.
Eleanor of Aquitaine was one of the most powerful and influential women of the medieval world, ruling vast territories as queen of both France and England. Born heiress to the wealthy Duchy of Aquitaine, she first married Louis VII of France, but their marriage was annulled after their joint participation in the disastrous Second Crusade. Her subsequent marriage to Henry II of England brought her vast French holdings under English control and made her queen of a sprawling Angevin empire. Eleanor bore Henry 8 children, including the future kings Richard the Lionheart and John, but their relationship deteriorated into open rebellion.
Number 20.
Philippa of Hainault was the beloved queen consort of Edward III, who played a crucial role in English politics and was renowned for her charity and mercy. Born into the noble house of Hainault in the Low Countries, she married Edward in 1328 when both were teenagers, beginning one of the most successful royal marriages in English history. Philippa bore Edward 12 children and served as regent during his military campaigns, successfully defending England against Scottish invasion. Her most famous moment came when she interceded with Edward to spare the lives of the burghers of Calais, exemplifying the medieval ideal of queenly mercy. They ruled kingdoms that shaped the destiny of civilizations. They reigned, commanded, and died for legacies that would echo through eternity. Some defended the faith against persecution, some forged new empires, others simply answered destiny's call. From Elizabeth's golden age to Victoria's vast empire, from Boudica's rebellion to Thatcher's revolution, these 20 queens forged British history with wisdom, courage, and unwavering determination. History reduced them to portraits and legends until now. Which royal voice called out to you across the centuries? Which forgotten reign now captures your imagination? Tell us in the comments, because to remember them is not just to learn, it's to honor. If their strength inspired you, leave a like and subscribe, so together we can restore more crowns time tried to tarnish. At Britain Reimagined, we don't just retell the past, we bring it back to life, one queen at a time.
Welcome to Britain Reimagined. They were pioneers, poets and reformers, women who shaped Victorian Britain yet were nearly forgotten. Today we bring them back to life, not just as names, but as vivid human faces through the power of AI. From Queen Victoria to Ada Lovelace, meet the women who defied their time. This is more than history. This is memory restored. Number 1. She was just 18 when she inherited an empire, so vast the sun never set on it. Behind the crown was a shy, overwhelmed young woman. Victoria didn't just reign, she reshaped the monarchy into a symbol of duty and restraint. But at what cost? She loved deeply, almost recklessly, with Prince Albert. When he died, so did a part of her. She wore black for 40 years, never smiled in public again. A queen in mourning, seen by millions, yet deeply alone. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a symbol, but as a woman of heartbreak and iron will. This is Queen Victoria, as you've never seen her before.
Number 2.
They called her the Lady with the Lamp, but her real light came from within. In the Crimean War's dark, filthy wards, she walked alone at night, calm in the chaos. She wasn't chasing glory, she was filling a void no one else would. She challenged generals, rewrote nursing, and fought illness herself. Born into privilege, she chose the battlefield. Not just a nurse, but a force of change. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a saint, but as a woman of grit, grace, and quiet rebellion. This is Florence Nightingale, as you've never seen her before.
Number 3. She knocked on the War Office door again and again. They said, "No, you're not trained," they claimed. But they meant, "You're not white." Mary Seacole didn't wait for permission. She crossed oceans, funded herself, and built a clinic near the battlefield. She healed the forgotten, comforted the dying. Soldiers called her Mother Seacole. But history left her in the shadows, buried beneath another name. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not just as a healer, but as a woman who refused to be erased. This is Mary Seacole, as you've never seen her before.
Number 4. They called her mad, but she wasn't wrong, just too early. In a world of gowns and gossip, Ada Lovelace wrote the future. While others saw machines that could calculate, she asked, what if they could think? She wasn't just Babbage's assistant. She penned the world's first algorithm for a machine that didn't even exist. She glimpsed AI, digital art, ideas a century ahead of her time. But genius came at a cost. Sickly, misunderstood, gone at 36. Now, look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not just her face, but her vision. This is Ada Lovelace, as you've never seen her before. Number 5. She wasn't born to be quiet. In a world that told women to sit down, she stood up. Emmeline Pankhurst marched through London with fire in her heart. Jeered, arrested, force-fed, she never backed down. Why? Because she believed daughters deserved a voice. She chained herself to Parliament, risked prison, sparked revolt. And just weeks before her death, women finally won the vote. She never cast that ballot, but she made sure you could. This is Emmeline, as you've never seen her before. Number 6. She wasn't supposed to be there. Not in lecture halls, not in surgery rooms. But Elizabeth Garrett Anderson refused to walk away. Every door closed, so she built her own. She taught herself Latin, memorized anatomy, and passed the exams they said she couldn't. Britain's first female physician, then founder of the first hospital run by women. She didn't just enter, she held the door open for others. This is Elizabeth Garrett Anderson, the woman who made healing her rebellion. Number 7. She wasn't made for drawing rooms. Beatrix Potter found her freedom in forests and sketchbooks. As a child, she whispered to rabbits and hedgehogs. They became legends. Peter Rabbit wasn't just a story, it was rebellion in watercolor. She outwitted publishers, protected her rights, and built an empire in ink. And when the world wasn't looking, she saved the Lake District. Quiet, fierce, unstoppable. This is Beatrix Potter, the artist who let nature speak. Number 8. They called her Queen of the Poor, but she wore no crown. Born into wealth, Angela could have lived in luxury. Instead, she built homes, funded schools, and fed the starving. She walked London's poorest streets, quietly, relentlessly. Dickens praised her, Victoria honored her, but Angela wanted impact, not applause. She became a baroness, but led with compassion, not title. An heiress who used fortune to forge futures. This is Angela Burdett Coutts, where privilege met purpose.
Number 9.
She could have stayed silent, wrapped in privilege, untouched by the world's cruelty. But when her daughter died, something inside her shattered and woke up. Josephine Butler didn't whisper, she roared. She took on the Contagious Diseases Act, laws that punished women without trial. She marched, wrote, shouted, facing threats, mockery, exile. For 20 years she never stopped, and when the laws finally fell, so did the silence. She didn't fight for fame, she fought for dignity. Now, look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a protester, but as a mother, a fighter, a flame. This is Josephine Butler, as you've never seen her before.
Number 10. She wasn't just acting, she was a light. Ellen Terry stepped onto the London stage as a girl and never left it behind. Her voice hushed crowds. Her gaze held centuries of sorrow and strength. Shakespeare's women became her mirror, bold, bruised, brilliant. Off stage, she broke rules, married young, divorced, loved on her own terms. She stood beside Sir Henry Irving, not behind him. A muse, a mother, a rebel in velvet gowns. They whispered about her. She kept shining. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a star, but as the flame behind the curtain. This is Ellen Terry, as you've never seen her before.
Number 11. She stood before crowds and courts with the same fire in her eyes. Annie Besant was told to stay silent. She refused. She left a loveless marriage, walked away from comfort, and chose the fight. In England, she marched with workers. In India, she ignited freedom. Slandered, jailed, exiled, still she rose. A scholar, a rebel, a woman who roared when others whispered. Her voice wasn't loud for show, it was forged by conviction. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a symbol, but as a force. This is Annie Besant, as you've never seen her before.
Number 12. She was just 28 when she died, yet her words still echo in kitchens across Britain. Isabella Beeton wasn't just a writer, she shaped Victorian home life. With ink-stained hands, she penned the guide that defined an era. Household management wasn't just recipes, it was survival for women in a world racing forward. Few saw her struggle, pregnancies, debt, and the pressure to be perfect. Behind the calm tone was a woman fighting the clock. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a myth, but as a quiet force. This is Isabella Beeton, as you've never seen her before.
Number 13. She sat tall, composed, every inch of her practiced in quiet strength. Emily Davies didn't chase attention, she earned respect. She didn't just hope for women at university, she made it happen. When Cambridge said no, she founded Girton College, not a symbol, a real education. They called her stubborn, she called it principle.
Measured words, unshakable resolve. She didn't shout, but the world still heard her. Now, look into her eyes. AI brings her back, not as a dreamer, but a builder of futures. This is Emily Davies, as you've never seen her before.
Number 14.
She never sought fame, just fairness. Octavia Hill sat with papers in hand, but her mission was people. Born into hardship, she knew the sting of instability. So she fought, not with speeches, but with action. She gave families clean homes, green spaces, and a sense of worth. They called her radical. She called it right. She never married. Her heart belonged to her cause. And through housing, parks, and the birth of the National Trust, she quietly reshaped a nation. Now look at her face. AI brings her back, not as a reformer, but as a builder of dignity. This is Octavia Hill, as you've never seen her before.
Number 15. She held her chin high, not in pride, but in defiance. Frances Power Cubbe was born into comfort, but chose confrontation. She saw cruelty in cages, in courtrooms, in marriage laws, and she fought it all. Her words were fire, lighting the path for women's rights and animal welfare alike. They called her difficult. She wore it like armor. She founded movements, wrote boldly, and never backed down. In a world that told women to whisper, Frances roared. Now, through AI, she returns, not just as a reformer, but as a force. This is Frances Power Cubbe, as you've never seen her before.
Number 16.
She walked into factories where others saw progress. She saw danger. Lucy Dean listened not just to data, but to the breathless women behind the machines. She was one of the first to raise the alarm about asbestos when no one else dared. They called it safe. She called it deadly. Mocked, dismissed, even criticized by peers, Lucy didn't flinch. She fought for those too tired to speak, too sick to be heard. Her words came before the world was ready, but they echoed into laws and protections. Now look into her eyes. AI brings her back not as a footnote, but a pioneer. This is Lucy Dean, as you've never seen her before.
Number 17. She wasn't drawn to the spotlight. She lit her world with stories instead. Charlotte Mary Young sat quietly, shaping generations not with power, but with pen. While industry roared outside, she crafted tales that whispered strength into the hearts of girls. She believed ordinary lives were worth telling and worth honoring. Her books didn't chase fame, they built foundations. In every sentence, a lesson. In every heroine, a reflection. She didn't raise her voice, but she shaped countless others. This is Charlotte Mary Young, brought back not for spectacle, but for the quiet courage she gave away, one story at a time.
Number 18. She wrote through heartbreak, because stopping meant forgetting. Margaret Oliphant lost nearly everything. Her husband, her children, her peace. Yet every morning she returned to her desk, hands steady, heart shattered. She didn't write for glory. She wrote to remember. Her novels weren't grand epics. They were lifelines, stories of grief, of resilience, of women holding families together with threadbare hope. Critics overlooked her, but her readers felt seen. This is Margaret Oliphant, resurrected not with fanfare, but with the quiet force of a mother who turned sorrow into story.
Number 19.
She didn't raise her voice,
she sharpened it. Sarah Grand sat with grace, but never with surrender. She coined the term New Woman, not to spark rebellion, but to hold up a mirror. Her words questioned everything Victorian society claimed was proper: marriage, femininity, power. She left a husband behind and found herself instead. Through fiction, she rewrote what womanhood could mean: bold, self-defined, unapologetic. She didn't rage, she revealed. This is Sarah Grand, not just a writer, but a quiet revolution in ink.
Number 20.
She didn't just design dresses, she designed freedom. To the world, she was Lady Duff Gordon, but to fashion, she was Lucille, the woman who made elegance a statement of defiance. She softened corsets, raised hems, and turned runways into stages. Each gown a rebellion, each client a muse. She survived the Titanic, scandal, and the snobbery of high society, emerging each time with silk in her hands and vision in her eyes. Lucille didn't follow trends, she invented them. This is not just the story of a designer, it's the story of a woman who stitched power into every seam. These women may no longer walk among us, but their courage, intellect, and quiet defiance still echo through the streets of Britain. Which story moved you the most? Whose face stayed with you long after the screen faded to black? Tell us below, because remembering is an act of honoring. And if there's another forgotten figure from Britain's past you believe deserves to be brought back to life, let us know. We're listening. Until next time, history isn't over. It's waiting to be seen again.